things. You mentioned writing and all too, and I'm thinking directing may be something you'd be interested in doing as well.
I've done some directing, yeah, it's for sure something I love with a passion.
So Killing Joan will be coming out, and it'll be available on digital April 3rd and DVD July 10th, and that's the latest movie, and it has a Crow-esque sort of feel with Jamie Bernadette playing the lead, and then you're playing the villain role. So in wrestling, you've had to play the villain role.
Yes.
Did you take some of wrestling and playing a villain into this movie?
I guess, probably, yes. I think every character that you play, you learn something about not just the character, but about yourself, and you retain some of that, experience, and you're able to mold that into a new character. So I think every time that you get to play a character like that, you can take aspects of it and see whether it fits into, the next role that you might be playing.
Katarina, we're going to wrap this up with a few more sort of rapid-fire type questions. I'm going to hit some of the wrestling things, and then also you have a YouTube channel, which is very interesting, and you can give the information on that, because I think it would be interesting to check it out, because you give your views on different things, and it's really a personal experience, and it's something I felt very worthwhile watching. But I want to go into the wrestling first, and I want to ask you, what does Ohio Valley Wrestling mean to you?
Ohio Valley Wrestling?
Ohio Valley Wrestling, yes.
Ohio Valley Wrestling to me means it was just an amazing experience of being there for, I think I was there for like a year and a half, and learning with Al Snow was really one of the, most amazing sort of minds for wrestling and teachers that I've met or, been able to work with. And just learning from him about character and story development and being able to, have a creative, back and forth with him was incredible. So I will always remember that very fondly.
Do you have a collar and elbow T-shirt?
I don't. I've been left out in the cold. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, okay. Mickie James is someone that you worked with in WWE and also with TNA Impact Wrestling. What was it like working with Mickie?
I love working with Mickie. Mickie is a very dear friend, an amazing person, and she's also an amazing wrestler. And she's one of those people, and that's why she's, back there today doing what she's doing. She always puts in 150%, no matter what the situation is or what the crowd is or where she's working, just because she loves it and because that's her work ethic. And she's also somebody who will always work for the match and not just for herself. So she always wants to, she's very generous, and she wants to create the best dramatic match she can, showcasing both opponents rather than, just thinking about what she wants to show. She wants, her opponent to have a good showing as well. She's just amazing to work with. She's a great attitude.
WrestleMania, because you've been able to be involved in a couple of WrestleManias, is that correct?
Yes.
What was the experience of just being involved in WrestleMania like for you?
I mean, it's awesome. It's just like this event where, you're there for a whole week. People bring their families. You have the fan access, and just everything is centered around it. And it's like a culmination of all the hard work of a year that goes into it. And just to be there and experience that firsthand is really, really exciting.
You were a tag team champion with Angelina Love in TNA Wrestling, and also a knockout champion while you were there as Winter. What was your experience like being in these big spots with TNA?
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, I really have Vince Russo to thank for that. I think, he came up with a character and the storyline, and, as soon as he brought it to me, I loved it, really embraced it, and it was, for me, again, like I said earlier, the characters and the storylines were always the most important things. To me, when I was watching wrestling, as a fan or even, as a casual viewer. So to have that storyline and to be involved in that for, pretty much a year, to, be on that show like week after week with a progressive storyline, and also, have the honor of holding that championship. Because that was a pretty big deal as well to have the trust of a company, that they want to make you that champion. So I was very grateful for that, or I'm still very grateful for that.
How did you get your big break with WWE?
Well, originally I'd seen that they had some open tryouts on their website. You could apply, and I just thought, why not? And I applied, and I went to a tryout, and then heard nothing back. And then a few months later, I met Tommy Dreamer at an independent show, and he asked me about it. And then he said, well, if you want to come for another tryout, we're back in England, give me a call. And so when they came back, I did. I gave him a call, and he booked me for the 2 days, and I got to try out, and then they hired me.
Did you ever look back and think, this young lady, very talented young lady from Germany and then from England, was able to do all she's been able to do in pro wrestling, and just feel good about that?
Well, yes and no. To be honest, I don't feel that I was able to do everything that I could have done in pro wrestling. So I don't necessarily feel that, but at the same time, I think I'm feeling more. I'm getting to the point now more where I do look back and go, I did come quite far, considering, that I wouldn't have necessarily expected to end up in, on WWE television and in the United States and doing this thing that I love for a living. So.
Katarina, is there something then would you look back on that you would do something different?
Yeah, a lot of things. I couldn't necessarily pinpoint one particular situation, but I think in WWE I sort of had once I was on the world on TV, I sort of had in my mind that I was there now, so I was just kind of doing my job and continuing, but I didn't work as hard to better myself as I should have done, and that's something that I would do different.
Do you think, in your sense and what you're saying, do you think you just got complacent with your spot?
I think not necessarily complacent with my spot, but I think just in general, a little bit, maybe I took it for granted a little bit more than I should have.
Women's wrestling today is at such a high, such a level that it's on. What do you think about women's wrestling today and what you've been able to see accomplished?
Well, I think it's amazing. I mean, it goes with the whole, equality movement as well, just showing that girls are now not sitting back and going, well, I'm a girl, I don't need to try so hard. No, everybody's, trying super hard, and everybody's working their butts off, and it shows in the ring. I mean, just when you go and see all the talent that's in there right now, and the standard is so high, it's amazing, and now being back on the indie scene and getting to work with some of these young women I'm like, wow, this is great. There was a lot less of us back in the day when I started.